Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the video about the book haul that should not have happened. Now, the reason it shouldn't have happened is because I had that massive book haul that I got back in November. That was something like 170 books, and I certainly haven't finished them yet. And I had another minor book haul in December when I was given quite a few books. I do try to keep all my to-read books on a single shelf, and at the moment it's kind of blossomed out of control. However, a book haul happened in January. Accepted. Maybe I'll try and hold off for a while, but who doesn't love a book haul? And I've got virtually no self-restraint when it comes to books. Okay, so January is also my birthday month. And as part of that, I received a lot of box sets, which I'm going to call my birthday presents. The first one that I'm going to highlight is The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. Now, I have read this series and I've read them really recently, which I don't think was known when this was bought for me. But I really, really enjoyed them. I thought they were excellent. The first one particularly, but really the whole series was good. And I didn't have all of them. I had the first one, which I'm now going to donate. And then I had to borrow the rest from the library. And here they are, all three of them, in a very manageable box set with some beautiful artwork on them. And next time I want to reread it, because I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, I won't have to wait for the library, because I have them, and I'm happy. Still under Cassandra Clare, I have got the City of Bones, the Mortal Instruments series. And here it is. This is weightlifting. Who needs a gym when you have books, right? It's a very, again, pretty package. Lovely black and white artwork. I'm going to assume it's digital artwork, but it's still very attractive. This series is another one that I read, but a very long time ago. I did not own all of it. I owned the first one, City of Bones. I'm not sure where I've put it, but it's around here somewhere. And reading this series was very difficult because I read it not too long after it came out, and waiting for them to come from the library was painful. And it's probably one of the reasons why I haven't reread this series. But now I have the whole thing. Thank you, Anna. And now I can reread them. Still in Cassandra Clare, we have the Bane Chronicles, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and Ghosts of the Shadow Market. Now, I was 90% certain that I'd read the Bane Chronicles. I've certainly read a couple of standalones of Magnus Bane, who is a great character in the Mortal Instruments, and indeed in the Infernal Instruments. But apparently I haven't read it. At least Goodreads says I haven't read it, and I can't prove it wrong. So now these three I haven't read, and I will try to read sometime in the next year, though I might well get hijacked into the Shadowhunters and read all of those first. Now, a little bit more controversially, I have here, oh my goodness, is this heavy? Sarah J. Maas. Oh, Crash. I was not a fan nor an advocate of ACOTAR. I read the first one. I don't know if I've reviewed it on Goodreads on YouTube or not, but I definitely did on Goodreads. I was not a fan in so many ways. Not a fan of that travesty of tree pulp. I am told by people who have read them that this Kingdom series, or what it's called, is the Throne of Glass series was her first, and it's actually better than ACOTAR. Noteworthy is the fact that many of the people who say this actually did read ACOTAR, and while they may not have been 100% on board, they weren't as not on board as I am. So I'm not sure how convinced I am about that, but I might be willing to give Sarah J. Maas another go. I'm willing to accept that possibly ACOTAR, or A Court of Thorn and Roses, was an unfortunate thing that happened, maybe she had a really bad head cold, or she just had a stroke or something, and it's not representative of her writing, and her first series is. So Throne of Glass. Maybe. We'll see. Now, as for the rest of my January book haul in happier moments, the Lifeline Bookfest. Now, for anyone who's in Queensland or probably in Australia, the Lifeline Bookfest is very, very familiar. Lifeline do these twice a year, I think they are at the moment. Massive sale in Brisbane. They use up two or three halls of the exhibition centre. Piles of books, tables of books, whole parts of books stacked up to the ceiling, which they renew on a regular basis. It's wonderful. I've been going for years. Even before I lived in Brisbane, while I was still living in North Queensland, I came down and did a book fest one day. As a bonus, what Lifeline use that money for is it's a fundraiser for their 24-hour call centre, call line, which is a suicide prevention line. So you are buying books, many of which you will love and keep forever, if you're me. And in the money that you're giving for those books is going to one of the best charities that I can imagine. If anyone's ever been desperate or lonely, felt that they've got no one to talk to, here is a non-denominational 24-hour call centre with trained people who will talk to you, who will give you an option. Suicide prevention, I think, is one of the better things that a charity could do. Giving people who may have no one to turn to, someone to turn to, is very, very praiseworthy. And that is why I was not as disappointed as I could be with my less than spectacular book fest results. So while I've been going for many years, I've never before gone on the last day. Work commitments meant that this year I had to go on the last day, and there weren't very many books left. Most of them were gone. Those piles and piles of books that normally reach up to the ceiling in beautiful shining palettes of hope and possibility, nada, nada. What was on the tables is what you got. There wasn't very much. In the high-end section, there was still some science fiction. In the low-end section, there were no more science fiction. They'd all sold out. I often get more of the older books, which the classics, fantasy and sci-fi there. And because I didn't have very much time, I couldn't go through much of the other tables, the non-fiction where I've had good results in the past and so forth. It wasn't a very successful book fest. The books I bought were expensive. They're at least as expensive as they would have been from an actual full-profit second-hand bookshop. Some of them considerably more so. So I spent about as much on one small table of 5, 10, 15, 20 books as I did on 170 books in my last book haul. That's a little bit disappointing, but honestly, did I need 170 books? Maybe not. And amongst this haul are some that I'm very, very happy to get. First of all, Charles DeLint. If any of you are watching from Canada or America, I'm pretty sure Charles DeLint is an author you do not have difficulty with. In Australia, he is as rare as hen's teeth. Really hard to get your hands on second-hand Charles DeLint, and some of them it's nearly impossible to buy new even online. So, I managed to get a few of Charles DeLint's that I didn't have, and I'm very happy about this. First of all is Spirits in the Wire. This is a fabulous book, which I have read before and I'm now reading again, so I'll give it a full review later. The cover is lovely. It's one of his later books with really excellent artwork, and it's larger than your standard paperback. So I'm reading that. Won't be very long before I'll be reviewing it. Really thrilled to have got my hands on it again. Dreams Underfoot by Charles DeLint, from the same type of book and the same type of artwork and the same type of cover. I'm not even sure if I've ever read Dreams Underfoot. If I have, it was a very, very long time ago. And I love Charles DeLint's combination of modern mythology and urban mythology and all the ologies with his beautiful descriptive writing. It's Absolutely amazing. Very pleased to have those two. Was there another Delint in there somewhere? I thought there was, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Many of the books that I was hoping to get my hands on weren't there, but I did get a few others. I've got an Orson Scott card, a beautiful old illustration. This is an Orson Scott card that I haven't actually read. So, A Planet Called Treason. I've seen it around a lot, though not recently, with this nice artwork that I am very pleased to acquired. There was The Wizard of Santa Fe. I've just recently read, and I think I've actually posted a YouTube already about the Simon Hawke Time Travelers series. Is it Time Travelers series? What do they call themselves? They call themselves something. Time Lords? No, not Time Lords. That's... Okay. Time Travelers will do, okay? The Wizard of Santa Fe, I don't love this artwork on this one as much as I love the artwork on some of the other ones. This is late in the series. I only recently discovered it existed, and now I own it, and I shall read it. Guy Gavriel Kay, The Darkest Road. So this is part of the Fionnavar Tapestry. Look at that. That's so pretty. And it goes all the way around. Very pretty. So yes, this is book 3 of the Fionnavar Tapestry. I have the second book of the Fionnavar Tapestry. I got that in my November book haul. And I don't have the first one. I believe the Fionnavars, like much other things written by Guy Gavriel Kay, you can read them separately. I'm a bit sad about not having the first one. I saw it on the other side of the table when I was picking this one up, but when I went back to get it, it was gone, so I don't have the first. Never mind. I can read things out of order. I've been doing it for years. I found another C.J. Sharon, Brothers of Earth. I'm quite excited about this one, actually. When I went online to see if I'd owned or read it, I haven't read it, I haven't heard of it, and it seems like no one else has either. If you look on Goodreads for this, unless Goodreads is glitching again, it seems to have 0 reviews. So I'm a little bit excited about this one. I think it might be quite rare. It's not in great condition, but it's not in terrible condition. And the artwork is just lovely. Bad angle. Here. The artwork is just lovely and quite unlike any of the other C.J. Sharons I've got. So yes, we'll see about that. One thing I will say about Bookfest that I really hope they stop doing is I hope they stop putting these really skanky labels on them. Here we have Time Gladiator by Mac Reynolds. I like Mac Reynolds. I've got quite a bit of him. Sorry, I've got quite a few of his books. They're up there on the shelf somewhere. I don't have Time Gladiator and I haven't read Time Gladiator. The artwork actually looks quite pretty, but as you can see from the cover, the book itself is not in great condition. So it's already losing a lot of the colour off the cover. The cover, you can't really see it here, but because it's old, it's quite flaky. And if I take that label off, the whole section of cover underneath it will go as well. So I really hope that Goodreads reconsiders doing this to books that are old, like this one, and have the potential to have some sort of value, which this one did. Value other than the reading, though. The reading is, I have to admit, my main point of view here. I got an Andre Norton Star is Born that I don't own. I've been getting back into Andre Norton and remembering just how much I like her writing. A little bit of a hokey cover on it, but I enjoy it. And I've been reading a lot of sci-fi with marine, oceanic type themes. This one seems to fit that bill as well. I've got a Harry Harrison that I'd never heard of before, Lifeboat. Harry Harrison, I vary between absolutely adoring his work and being a bit meh. I've found I love some of his humour, but some of his humour gets me the wrong way. When he isn't writing humour, he still has enough tongue-in-cheek or irony to make it very light reading. Now look at this cover. Is this not a beautiful cover? It is so very, very, I don't know, classic sci-fi. And it is by a publisher called Orbit Futura. Don't think I know about Futura, but I did get two. I know Orbit, but I don't know about Futura. I do have two books in this haul from them. This is a 1977 copy. I was going to say it looked kind of 80s, but yeah. Anyway, I really enjoy that cover. It looks very... what was that wonderful book and movie about being stuck in a game? I'll remember it sooner or later. Another Harry Harrison is Winter in Eden. I know I've read and owned the Eden, this book before, but it was a very long time ago. I don't remember it at all. And here we are, back in the marine and oceanic themes. Seems to be a thing for me. What else have we got? Oh, yes. So, like Charles DeLint, Tanith Lee can be tricky. Her writing is spectacular and weird and peculiar. She herself was spectacular and weird and peculiar by all accounts. It is, I suspect, nearly impossible to get a full collection of everything she's wrote, because this woman changed publishers like some women change underwear. I don't think even she could have remembered how many publishers she had. Now this one I have not read before. It's part of a series that I didn't know about. But Tanith is kind of unpredictable, so that's not surprising. So this is book one of the Lion Wolf trilogy, and it's called Cast a Bright Shadow, though you can't tell that because someone else has defaced the cover of one of my books with a label that didn't need to be there. However, it looks very pretty. This is another one I regret. There was the number 2 in this series on the table as well, but someone else got to it before me and it was gone by the time I got there. Also from Tanith Lee, clearly in her child writing for children phase, is this rather cute cover. There's a lot of quirk happening there. It's the sort of thing I draw when I'm in a terribly saccharine, quirky mood. The Lore of the Wolf Tower, shortlisted for the Guardian Children's Fiction Award, which I didn't know existed, but I'm sure it's very venerable just the same. I love the way Tanith Lee writes here, there, and everywhere. She's got some themes that she comes back to often and again, that almost gothicness, the strange, warped mythologies. She's got a few completely outstanding and unusual books, and I don't remember having read any children's fiction. Her brand new books, the really last ones that she wrote before she died, were spectacular too. I've never seen them anywhere in Australia except in libraries either. Okay, Mercedes Lackey and Larry Dixon wrote Owlsight. This is a trilogy that fits into her later Valdemar series. Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar series were really, really huge for a while. Apparently she was a big Ren Fair celebrity. She was on the internet. She was known by the name of Misty. There was this huge, huge fanfare around her. I haven't heard much about Mercedes Lackey yet. I still love many of her Valdemar series, though not all of them. And I've always liked the Owl series. This is a trilogy that I really enjoy. So it's got a protagonist called Darian. I've never owned this, which is the number 2. I owned the number 1, I owned the number 3. Once or twice I've managed to get my hands on number 2 and read it, but I've never actually been able to read all 3 of them in series, so I'm looking forward to that. Barry Melzberg, I was happy to get an old Barry Melzberg with some of that beautiful old classic sci-fi cover. It's on A Planet Alien. And I don't think I've read this. Again, I've got a few Melzbergs. It's not one of those ones where I'm sort of hunt, seek, and obtain like Zelazny. But I do have quite a few Melzbergs. They are often very enjoyable. On the subject of Roger Zelazny, another author who is, if not rare as hen's teeth, at least very, very hard to acquire the whole thing. There was a lot of Zelazny on that table. I was very, very tempted to buy every single one of them. I really wanted to. I had all of them. Now, Prince of Chaos I do have, but the cover isn't anywhere near as good condition and beautiful as this one. Though they weren't cheap, I thought I can treat myself to one upgrade in book at least. I love the artwork on this one. I'll try not to regret the other ones in this series that I didn't get. So My Prince of Chaos is a much more garish type cover, but here on this older one you can see you've got that arch that is the classic arch in all the early Princes of Amber series, and I'm actually really, really happy to have this and pop it on the bookshelf, though it won't go on the to read pile. So thankfully, one less for the to read pile. And a Roger Zelazny that I haven't read and didn't know about and was really, really excited to find. A Dark Travelling. I have no idea what it is or what it's about. Roger Zelazny, I haven't read it, I haven't heard of it, sight unseen, very excited. Might go right to the top of my to read pile because can I resist? I probably can't. Anne McCaffrey, I've been getting right back into the Pern series and I've reread most of them now. I was actually looking for I think there's 2 Perns that I don't have and I didn't find them, but I did find Restoree. Restoree is an Anne McCaffrey that I read a long time ago. I don't own. She's one of those authors that it can be easy to find 1 or 2 of the Pern books of hers. You can often find the Crystal Singers of hers, but these more niche books, frequently you will go years without seeing a single one. I want to reread Restoree and I'm pleased to get my hands on it. And now we've got some random ones. My second Andre Norton is The Beastmaster. Not sure if I've ever read it or not. If I have, it was a long time ago. But look at this cover. This is totally unlike any cover I've seen for Andre Norton. It looks old. It's been covered over, so it's in reasonably good condition. And I really love this artwork. So, yeah, I don't think I've read it. I've read others of her Beast series, but not this one. And I'm just fascinated by this artwork. It's so niche. It's so unusual. Yeah. And even though it is old, it is clearly old, and it was published in Great Britain. 1966. Sure. Even though it's a 1966 book, it actually credits the artist. The cover design is by Douglas Lee Travis, and hooray for books who credit the artist when they've done a great job like this. More people should do it. Now, most of the books I got were books that I knew about or knew about the author or was looking for actively. I did throw in a couple of randoms. I've never heard of Robert Charles Wilson and I've never heard of Darwinia, but I came across this book. It's newer by the look of it than many of the other sci-fi, which are mostly classics of sci-fi and fantasy. It's a newish looking book. The cover art is by Jim Burries. I think Burries. And it's got an interesting premise. It's got an idea. The idea is in 1912, history changed. There was something weird happened. They're calling it a miracle. Whatever. I don't care. And the old world of Europe was replaced by Darwinia, a strange land of nightmarish jungle and antediluvian monsters. And America is now ruled by religious fundamentalists. I'm not sure that quite qualifies as sci-fi, but I know a lot of people are working to improve it. So you've got an America that's more like America of today, and a Europe that is like nothing on Earth today. I was very intrigued by the premise. Know nothing about it, going in sight and unseen, except it's the winner of the Philip K. Dick Award, apparently. Hugo Award finalist, for whatever that means. I'm looking forward to it. And The Wind-Up Girl by Paolo Bacigalupi. I really, really apologize, Paolo. I'm pretty sure I've just completely wrecked your name. Anyway, The Wind-Up Girl. I haven't read this, and it wasn't on my to-read or any of the shelves of books that I'm actively looking for, but it's triggered a memory. I've got a feeling at some stage someone, and it might be William Gibson, like here on the cover, really recommended this, or I saw some reviews that made me really intrigued. So while I wasn't really up there to spend too much on books sight unseen, because like I said, Lifeline Bookfest, you used to be able to get books for $2-3. Even the high class section you could get them for $4 or $5. And at $2 to $4, I'm willing to buy a book sight unseen and discover. Maybe there'll be a new favourite book. When you're paying $10 to $12 per book, I'm starting to recoil a little bit from the sight unseen. I'm less willing to be open-minded about what I might find. So my two big taking a chance here are The Wind-Up Girl, and I hope the vague memories I've got of it being good live up, and Darwinia, and I hope my instinct for what I read about it on the back cover are good. Okay, so that's my huge book haul. 2024 January. I really, really hope I can resist the urge of book hauling for at least a few months. I haven't dared look at how many books are on my to-read shelf, but I think we're probably heading back up past 200 toward 300. Even I'm not including the ones like the Clockwork Angels and stuff that I have already read. It's going to be a long, hard year of intense reading, and I'm so happy about that. So read good books and tell me about them.